Look for an occupation that you like, and you will not need to labor for a single day in your life. Welcome to Career Corner.
Welcome to Career Corner, a show where we inform our viewers of specific careers. We also spend time with guests who are inspirational and empowering. The great thing about the guest today is not only will he be informing you of what it's like to be involved in a career as a corporate trainer, and what a hot topic, what a hot career, but also he's extremely empowering, inspirational, and motivational. And I want to welcome to the show Mr. Fred Walker. Fred is the corporate training specialist for the elite training organization known as Dale Carnegie Training. Fred.
Patrick.
Yeah, good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah,
good to see you.
This is great. So tell me a little bit. So you're a corporate training specialist for Dale Carnegie Training, which is no joke. I mean, that's a global organization.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're in about 80 different countries nowadays, translated into 25 different languages. It really is a global company. And I get to spend a lot of my time on site with our clients.
Yeah, okay. How long have you been doing this kind of work?
Okay, 20 years.
20 years.
20 years, but here's how it happened. I was in, then out for a few years. I went and worked at a Wall Street firm called Lord Abbett. I was manager of technology education for them. And then when Anita and Bob Zinsmeister took over the franchise in central New Jersey, we had a conversation about me coming back, and I made that leap and came back, and that was about 12 years ago, and I've just been happy ever since.
Yeah, so Dale Carnegie wrote the book, I'll let you finish this.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah, and that wasn't last year, right?
Oh, it was not last year. No, it was in 1936 originally. So the book is, it's a history book, but also the organization, Dale Carnegie and Associates, has worked hard to update the book every few years. So that way it stays cutting edge. Because you're going to read stories about, things that had happened in the 30s, but you're also going to read stories about computer sales, and those have been inserted a little bit over the years since.
Yeah,
so.
Right. I'm so interested in this corporate training, the field. And actually I had somebody not long ago inquiring with me about, my knowledge on the corporate training, how to break into it. What the heck does a corporate training specialist really do? What do you do?
What I do, I call myself a corporate chameleon.
Okay.
There are 30 human relations principles in how to win friends and influence people. There are a lot of business tools and ideas that are in another program that we work called Leadership Training for Managers. And what my role is to sort of interpret, in other words, to take the values, mission, vision of the client companies and marry them with these ideas so that the course becomes self-tailoring. It becomes a Johnson & Johnson course, or it becomes a Merrill Lynch course, or whatever client company we're with, because we tailor it right to the fabric of that.
And is that pretty common in like the corporate training, from a corporate training specialist world that you're going in, and not just from the Dale Carnegie end of thing, but just from the career standpoint, that people are doing that kind of stuff? And
I know that other organizations are partnering with some other companies, some of our client companies as well. Certainly we have competition out there. I'm not certain that other organizations have the ability to quite reach the level that we do with Dale Carnegie. Yeah. I know for me, it becomes very personal, because I feel like I work for those companies. And at lunchtime, I walk around, and I'm running into people that were
so you're passionate about it. You're driven to do a good job. As a corporate training specialist, do clients come to you, or do you actually go to their location?
Both.
Okay, and that's pretty common in the field of corporate trainers.
Yes, I think so. A lot of times when they come to us, when we say that, what they're really doing is coming to, say, a hotel facility. We in Central Jersey do have a training facility in Hamilton, New Jersey, where a lot of times our clients do actually come to our training facility.
Yeah, okay. So you guys have the option, you know,
Yeah.
and not all corporate trainers. Someone, a viewer at home is interested in becoming a corporate trainer. Some organizations will offer that, whether it's both
Sure.
ways, and some won't, right?
Sure.
You know, obviously you're passionate about your job. You probably have some really wonderful experiences doing what you do. What kind of experiences might someone who wants to get in this field, what might they expect going into a company, right, and dealing with, you know, human beings? What could people expect?
Well, the expectation that you would have is as you become integrated with the clients that you're working and you get to see them grow, you get to see them achieve some results, get better business results, get projects in motion that weren't in motion before. It's very rewarding because you get to sort of share their success. But there's another whole side of it that when you really are partnered with them, you become friends with them too.
Yeah.
And so it goes beyond just what's happening in the classroom. And sometimes you'll hear from somebody maybe 2 years later, the phone will ring and it'll be somebody you had in a training class and they want to share some piece of good news with you, and it's just great. Or for instance, there are a couple of folks that I've worked with at Bristol Myers Squibb over the years, and sometimes we'll just go for lunch.
Really? Okay, good,
you
yeah.
know, and just stay in touch.
So as a corporate trainer, I mean, even the title can be a little bit deceiving because you are working in corporations, but you're working with human beings.
Exactly.
Right? So that filters into, you know, into people's lives.
Yeah.
And actually makes it, you know, can make a big difference.
Yeah,
You know, in who they are.
It is, because you know the water's flowing in a direction, and when that water flows, it's not different at home than it is at work, and so yeah, they take home some of the enthusiasm, some of the confidence, and some of the ability to communicate and interact with others. They'll take that home with them as well. We hear
And
that.
do corporate trainers and then in your organization, do you guys look to quantify the results as well, or
Absolutely.
You do, okay.
Yeah. There was a time when we didn't. People were just happy maybe 10 years ago with us coming in, delivering the training, and then their folks would say, oh, how great that training was. Now, 99% of the participants in our class are 100% funded by their company, and the company's saying, hey, what are we getting? What's the return on investment? So we have looked to quantify that and actually ask the participants in almost all of our programs to put together some sort of an ROI, return on investment report at the end to say, here's what I did. You know, yeah, I'm more confident. Yeah, I'm a better communicator. And I took this project where we needed to get bearings ground outside of our company, and we brought it back inside the company. And,
Yeah, good.
You know, we saved the company $500,000. I heard that in the last class, the last leadership training for managers program that I did, and that was just great.
Yeah, and I can see why that would be exciting for somebody to enter your kind of field, right?
Yeah.
Because not only are you impacting individuals, you're hearing, you know, quantifiable numbers, you're really making a difference. Now, right, every career has the up points, and oftentimes has, I don't want to say the not so pleasant, but the challenging aspects. What might be a challenging aspect of corporate training?
Sure. Well, it has to do with the participants that we get into the class. The way I see it, there really are several types of personality types.
Yeah.
There's the zealot. Somebody comes in and they're like, oh, I'm going to learn this. This is going to be great. And then we have the wait and see type, and they're going to go, all right, let's see what this is all about. Then we have the vacationer. Hey, it's better than working. So they come into the training class, and then sometimes we do have somebody I call a hostage, and they're like, I don't want to be here. I've got other things to do. And when we have those folks, that can be a little bit challenging for the trainer and frustrating.
Yeah. Overall, though, right, the good outweighs the bad. It's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see your enthusiasm.
Those are few and far between. Ordinarily, by the time somebody gets to the program that we're doing, the company has done such a good job of convincing them of the value that they're okay. But every once in a while, you got them. And then people throw me zingers. I'll give you, for instance, was working with folks from a very large stock exchange company, and we were talking about in How to Win Friends and Influence People, there's a story, we were doing a review of the story. There's a story, and it's one of our favorite stories, about when Abraham Lincoln had written a scathing letter to General Meade because he was disappointed with Meade's lack of progress in the Civil War. And years later, that letter was found unmailed in a drawer in Lincoln's possessions. And everyone, we always talk about it as being like he had thought better of it and didn't send it, kind of like putting an email in the draft. And then one of the guys from the stock company said, "I don't think that's what happened." I said, "Well, what do you think happened?" "Well, I think he wrote the letter, he put it in the drawer, and he went to the theater that night." Yeah. And I said, "Oh, man." In 18 years of teaching this class, no one has ever looked at it from that point of view. Yeah. But sometimes you have participants that are creative and clever, and that kind of makes the live training fun.
Yeah, and I actually read that in one of Dale Carnegie's book, that story. But another book that I also read is your book. But tell how, like, as a corporate training specialist, you run across all these experiences. And I read your book, excellent book, wonderful.
Thank you.
And I can see it's because of your experience. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Okay. Well, my book is it's called Jump Out of Your Boat, and it is a book that I put together out of suggestion from participants in the class, because I use all these various stories to illustrate ideas and help them understand things. And many times people would say to me, "You should write that down." And so finally, there was a woman that worked with us years ago at Dale Carnegie. Her name's Gail Cassidy, and she was writing a book. Okay. And I didn't know anyone ever before that actually was a writer. And I said to her, how do you do that? How do you get to it? And she said, "Well, you just start gathering stories. And then next thing you know, when you have enough, you put them in some logical order, and I have 4 sections in the book, and then go from there." So I started gathering stories. It took me no time at all. You know how long it took?
How long?
12 years.
Yeah, 12 years. Well, you have the experience. You're in there, right? So you're collecting them.
I was patient, you know, and so I just, every once in a while, I check the word count, and I go, nowhere's near it. And then it started getting closer and started getting closer. And so next thing I know, I had the book together. It's called Jump Out of Your Boat, and it's a metaphor for some folks want to live nice and safe in their boat, within their own comfort zone and not do things. But really, to truly experience life and to have a rich and rewarding experience, you got to jump out of your boat.
Yeah, you got to take some risks, right?
Take some risks.
Try some things.
And so we illustrate some ideas along those lines, and it's just a collection of stories.
This is what's terrific about having people like you on the show. Not only, you have an expertise as a, corporate training specialist, someone who's been in, multinational organizations, but you've used your experience then in ancillary projects like your book, Jump Out of Your Boat.
Yeah.
And that's very, that's wonderful. We have about a minute left, on the show. I know the time does fly, and with your energy and enthusiasm, maybe we'll have you back again. If someone wanted to learn more about becoming a corporate training specialist, just briefly, what might they do? Do they have to tailor their education, do those kind of things?
No. What they would want to do is to get the opportunity to be in front of people and to do some training, and then look for organizations that do what we do at Dale Carnegie, and there's many of them, and start slow. Get in, experience the training, and then maybe work as a coach and help. And then go from there.
Get your foot in the door, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, Fred, I have to tell you, this was an exciting show, and I'm sure our viewers at home not only got a big piece on being a corporate training specialist, but some of the ancillary products that can come from doing that work. Yeah. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for watching Career Corner, and our guest, Fred Walker from Dale Carnegie Training.
SCAN, the Social Community Activities Network, is celebrating its 25th anniversary serving the active adult community. Our main campus is conveniently located in the basement level of the Monmouth Mall, near the mall management offices. SCAN's affordable classes include physical fitness, computers, digital photography, Spanish, Italian, literature, art, music, TV production, and more. Also, Medicare resources and programs such as Take Control of Your Health, Financial Literacy for Older Women, and Brain Fitness. SCAN will be featuring trips and lunch and learn programs geared to complement your lifestyle. Visit our website, www.scannj.com, or call us at 732-542-1326, or visit us.
Welcome to Career Corner. I'm Patrick Howell, your host. I have a wonderful guest named Joanne Colella. Joanne is a vice president and editor-in-chief of the Journals magazine. And Joanne is going to not only tell us a little bit about what it's like to work in the publishing industry. She spent many years in just about every position doing just about everything in the publishing world. But she's also going to spend some time sharing her unique experiences with us. So welcome, Joanne.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, it's great. No, it's excellent to have you. I'm familiar with your wonderful magazines, and it's really thrilling to be able to have you on the show and sort of inform us a little bit about this type of career in your world.
Thank you.
Why don't we start off? Okay, what are the Journal magazines?
The Journals are a series of monthly publications that we publish throughout Monmouth County. And as of a year ago, we also published throughout Middlesex and Mercer counties as well. The Journals have been around for about 18 years altogether.
Wow, okay.
Gone through various evolutions over the years, gotten bigger and bigger. It's now a full-color, glossy magazine, generally around 80 pages. Our focus is on hyper-local community news. I mean, we really, the media industry in general has gone through so many changes, and a lot of the hyper-local media outlets have been disappearing, and we're still around, and we publish a lot of the good news that comes out of the communities.
That's nice.
So,
you're not focusing on mostly the horrible things. You're focusing on the positive.
Yes, it's the school news, the fundraisers, the volunteerism, all of the things that really make the communities tick. We do talk about the events and the people, and it's wonderful things.
That's great. And I know from having a chance to talk to you a little bit off camera here that you have really touched on so many aspects of this publishing field, and we're going to get to that in a moment. But why don't we start off a little bit? What's involved in your job?
Well, in the Journals in particular, I mean, we are, even though we're now part of a pretty big media conglomerate, so to speak, we have various print products that are our sister publications now, and we have website capabilities and print capabilities. But even though we have all of that, we're actually kind of, I guess, a small and very hands-on publication. So during our typical production cycle, it gets pretty intense and round the clock. In my position, I do everything from going to events myself, writing about them, photographing them, soliciting input from other people, press releases. We get anywhere between 200 and 300 press releases a month sent to us, and it's my
And those
job.
press releases are like organizations, people wanting to
Organizations, parents writing in about their kids, scout activities, township committee news, and it comes down to me. It's a timely magazine. It's time sensitive, so we write about things that usually just happened the month before, or things that are coming up in the future month, and either things that are very concentrated in a particular town or more regional throughout Monmouth County. So I have to weed through, see what's timely that we can publish that month, and do all the editing. I do the layout of the actual magazines. So lay out where the ads will go, where the stories will go, get it all off to press.
And now, is that a job, the layout of the magazine, is that a job specifically for editor-in-chief, or are other people?
In bigger publications, I guess national publications, there's probably entire departments that do that.
Doing the whole piece,
yes, but it's, mine is kind of soup to nuts, and we have a very, very fast turnaround time because our deadline is in the middle of a month for the next month's issue. So we have about a week at most to get all that in, format it, edit it down, get it off to the printer, and have it delivered so they're hitting mailboxes in time.
You know, I'm going to blend a couple questions into one here, okay? Because I know some of the viewers might be interested in, you know, how the heck do you break into sort of a publishing career? But maybe a way to answer this is to talk about how'd you get your start?
Okay. Mine actually started, well, my whole life I was involved in writing in one way or another, which I actually get a lot of satisfaction out of, because I always said I wanted to be a writer, and I look back now and I say, wow, I really was, which is very rewarding. But you know, my history was in advertising, Madison Square Garden. When I started staying home with the kids, which I thought was an important thing for people to know, my passion still allowed me to keep a hand in it. I did a lot of volunteer work. Whenever I was on a lot of committees, a lot of organizations, whenever they needed somebody to volunteer for publicity, my hand was up.
Yeah, okay.
And after a while, I got known by a lot of the local publications, who I would go each month at their deadline time and say, okay, here's, you know, the Scout news and the school news and the town news and the volunteer news. And eventually, they just asked me to come and write everything else.
Isn't that great? So you didn't take the traditional route then, maybe of just saying, okay, you really, you know, soup to nuts, really got your hands dirty, so to speak. You know, in that world, can that be expected, you know, for folks to be able to break in? If someone wanted to break into this field, I mean, is that would you recommend that they start?
I think so. I think, you know, because you know, number one, I think you can't overvalue good writing these days. You know, I've told my own kids, if you, no matter what you pursue in life, whether it's in school or in your career, whatever you want to be when you grow up, so to speak, if you can be a good writer and spell and punctuate and put your thoughts together, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
You know, even though I came through it at the end there through the volunteer route, you know, not, you know, applying for the job of editor-in-chief, I evolved into it. I think that's the way that a lot of people can get involved. You know, I know, you know, I'm amazed at some of the content that comes into the magazines, and there are so many good writers out there, and there are so many good stories out there that you know, we just love having the opportunity to share for people.
Yeah, and that's really important, right? So someone, you know, that's sitting at home watching this show, that says, well, I'm a really good writer. I know how to edit. You know, have my, you know, I have that area, you know, pretty well sealed up. That they don't just have to sit around. They can start doing these things that might seem small in the beginning, but can lead to
much bigger,
editor-in-chief,
yes,
right?
much bigger things.
You know, a wonderful magazine.
Yes, and especially now with the internet. I mean, there's so much, you know, online opportunities that people can use for writing. We've actually expanded out that way with the journals too, because since we are so time sensitive, there were months that we had to leave out a lot of things because it got to us too late, you know, before we had to go to press, or it was a little too early for the next month's issue.
Yeah.
And now we have a very good website where we're able to put a lot of that spillover information.
Very important.
And keep it timely and you know, solicit input for that. And I think that's become a very good resource for writers these days.
Great. Why don't you show us what you brought with us here, what journals you have?
Well, these are samples of what we look like.
That's the Homedale Journal, right?
This is the Homedale Journal, which you know, goes directly to every address in Homedale. This is Colts Neck, and this is Navasink. These are our three main publications from Monmouth County. Again, like I said, we branch out into Mercer and Middlesex, but the you know, we try and keep it as local as we can, even right down to the covers. I mean, these particular examples are, I guess, stock photography.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah, where do you get this from?
Yeah, we do a mix. I mean, some of it is stock photography. We always try and keep it timely to the season, you know, to the month that we're publishing. Whenever possible, we really like to use images that we get from our readers and you know, people in the community.
Yeah, okay.
So if there's an event coming on, you know, some of our writers' photos have appeared. There are amateur photographers in the community. Sometimes, you know, the Scouts or a church or somebody will just send us a fabulous shot, and we go, oh, you know, that's the one, and we put it on the
You know,
covers.
what's great is that, you know, now that people watching this show, right, send them to the journal. You guys will have a, you know, a stockpile.
We welcome it. We do. We welcome the community input as much as possible.
That's excellent. That really is. Now, I know you've had some really interesting experiences, and I understand that one of your first, you know, I'll let you say your first cover Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
My very first cover story for the Journal, I started writing for the Journal officially in August of 2001. And a month later was 9/11. So my first cover story was about 9/11 and the impact in my own community in Homedale, and all the things that were done and the families that were impacted. And it was very emotional.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
is.
Of course it is. Yeah, and you know what a powerful moment for you as your first cover as well.
And as much as I had been involved in before that, I thought I had my finger on the pulse of so much that was going on in the area, and it wasn't until you're on this side of the magazine and you're being invited to come and cover so much else that you see how much wonderful events are going on throughout Monmouth County. You could look at the calendar, and every day of the month there's a fundraiser, there's a wonderful entertainment program, and we do try to include as much as possible. And the opportunities have just been astounding. I mean, I've gone to performances in local theaters and met celebrities, and or go to a volunteer event, and you just move to tears, and you're signing up to volunteer.
Well, we have to hang out more often, Joanne.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's great. I mean, it sounds like it's a really exciting exciting space for you to be in. Well, I mean, every career has the ups and the downs, the good and the bad, right? What might be some of the challenging things in in the publishing
The
world?
challenging thing, well, for us, is certainly deadline time.
Okay,
It's, you spend at least a few sleepless nights in a row just trying to beat that clock.
Is that when we were trying to email each other?
Yes, that was exactly when we were trying to email each other. A lot of misconnections at that time. And I guess if you're an editor, it pays to be compulsive when it comes to editing.
Yes.
So we have, in a given month, if we have, 2 80-page magazines and a third 64-page magazine, I've read every word in that probably several times over, and inevitably there might be something that I've missed, and it drives me crazy once it lands in the mailbox. But it's you have to be a perfectionist. You have to turn it around quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to really be dedicated to it.
Yeah. So by the end of your print time, or when you come to print, you're dreaming of these local stories, Joanne.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I always say in our office that it's really like giving birth to triplets every month, over and over again. You're never quite sure what they're going to come out looking like, but they're always wonderful, and you always love them.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work, and then once you get past it, you say, oh, that wasn't so bad, and you're ready to do it again the next time.
Yeah, excellent. So. We have about a little less than 2 minutes left. Obviously, you're enthusiastic about your job. You love it. You've provided so much great information for people who might want to break into this field. What most about what you do excites you? What's the most exciting aspect to Joanne?
For me personally, it's a passion for getting people's stories out. Even though the publications are advertising supported, so I certainly appreciate the sales force behind it.
Yeah, sure.
The more sales we have, the more pages we can publish, and the more stories we can fit. But I take it very much to heart when we have to leave out something. I applaud people for all the great things that they do, and I just love the opportunity to give them a voice and print things that other people might not.
Yeah, so it does. It gives places a voice. Like even this organization, SCAN, places like this that might not have an opportunity to.
Yes, which actually, the more I've learned about it, the more I'm looking forward to publishing information about it.
Love it. Okay, and get the word out about Career Corner.
Yes, exactly.
As well, Joanne, I have to tell you that oftentimes we have all different kinds of guests on this show, and this is the first time I've had an editor-in-chief and someone who's responsible for publishing 3 wonderful journals: the Homedale Journal, the Colts Neck Journal, and the Navesink Journal.
Yes.
And it's really been exciting having you on this show, and hopefully somewhere in the future you'll be willing to come sit back across from me and
Would love to.
Have a little bit more dialogue.
Would love to.
Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Our guest was Joanne Colella. She is the editor-in-chief of the journals Colts Neck, Homedale, and Navesink. And this has been Career Corner.